What's up, Courier Nation? DJ Dub here with a breakdown of the SuperFlex Tight End Premium draft I am doing right now. It's a startup draft. I'm going to go through each round, just give some quick updates so you can hear how a draft might go. Later on, I'll do some commentary. Round 1 went Allen, Taylor, Herbert. I took Mahomes at 4. Murray, Burrow, Jefferson, Prescott, Lamar Jackson, McCaffrey, Jamar Chase, and Jalen Hurts. Wow. When I look at round 1 of that startup draft, I see a lot of quarterbacks. Only 4 picks were not quarterbacks. At 2, it was Jonathan Taylor. At 7, it was Justin Jefferson. At 10, it was Christian McCaffrey. 11 was Jamar Chase. 4 amazing players, 4 difference makers. But how will these teams end up without quarterbacks with SuperFlex, or did some of us reach on quarterbacks? I was ecstatic that Mahomes fell to me at 4. He's my 1 or 2 quarterback in the league. Yeah. So, Courier Nation, here's a real quick rundown of round 2. Remember, it's SuperFlex Tight End Premium. 2.1 was Cup, followed by Pitts, Eckler, CD Lamb, Russ Wilson, Najee Harris, Devonta Adams, Mark Andrews. With my pick, I took Trey Lance for the double Mahomes-Lance combo, Diggs, Kittle, and Javonte Williams. So round 2 in the books, little diversification of skills. As I look at round 2 of this startup draft, not as many quarterbacks as I thought would be picked. 2 quarterbacks were picked. There were a lot of skill positions in there. Kyle Pitts was the first tight end off. It's tight end premium. Gotta grab you. Mark Andrews got snaked right before I was gonna pick him. In tight end premium, you want a premier tight end, if not possibly waiting for a while. Then it was a good distribution of running backs and receivers. Interesting how high Cup goes given his age, but I dig it. He's a solid player. Good morning, Courier Nation. Quick rundown of round 3 of the startup rookie draft. It was Swift, Henry, Kelsey. I got AJ Brown, Mixon, Debo, DK Metcalf, Dalvin Cook, T. Higgins, Matt Stafford, Waddle, and Hill. Pretty much a decent split between running backs and receivers with 1 quarterback. In round 3, you saw a lot of teams starting to fill out rosters. 4 running backs were taken, so still not a ton off the board. Receivers are starting to be the building because they are longer lasting and usually a good foundation for creating a fantasy roster. Stafford went late in the round, which is an excellent pick. You got Kelsey going earlier. He's older, but it's a team that's looking like they're going to try to win now, and it snaked me. Grr. Okay, we're looking at round 4. Barkley, ETN, Chubb, Waller, Hawkinson, Pittman, Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, snuck in from Cam Akers, Alvin Kamara, DJ Moore, and Aaron Rodgers. Wraps up an interesting round with a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Running backs are starting to sneak into the picks. In this round, people are starting to feel where they want to go with their teams. A lot of teams are noticing, oh, I need a running back, and the running backs are getting thin. Stud receiver Mike Evans was stuck there in the middle. That could be a payoff for the current time. You're looking at Aaron Rodgers coming off about middle of the pack quarterback is pretty money, and Kamara is dynasty. Even though he will be suspended probably for a couple games, why not? So round 5 started off with Deontay Johnson, followed by Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins. I took J.K. Dobbins, Gibson, Tua, Justin Fields, Fournette, Montgomery, McLaurin, Trevor Lawrence, and Deshaun Watson. Quarterbacks in a SuperFlex league, probably the way to go at this point. Seems to be popular. Quarterback, running back round for the most part. So if you look at round 5, that's when people are starting to go, I need that second quarterback, or I need to get that first quarterback for some of the wide receiver, running back starting rosters. You got a lot of youth in there from Tua and Fields and T-Law and the prospect of Watson. So some risky picks there, and some older steady guys in Cousins and Carr. Snuck in there with a couple of receivers and running backs. Running backs getting kind of questionable right now with Dobbins' injuries and Gibson's backfield. Good round. So we're looking at round 6. Brady, Wilson, that's Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Keenan Allen, Judy, Moon, Devonta Smith, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I snuck in some Hollywood Brown, Mike Williams, Cortland Sutton, and Hunter Renfrow. What a run of wide receivers. So this is around a couple of wide receiver, running back heavy teams. Grab some quarterbacks. Brady for a year was an awesome pick. Williams and Jones are risky young guys. Mac Jones, I believe, to be a guy that's there for a decade. But right middle of the pack, he's a steady kid number 2. And then it went the receiver run, starting with Allen and late ending with Renfrow. A couple sneaky ones in there. You got Mooney, who could step up. Devonta Smith, I love my Hollywood Brown. You got Mike Williams, who could step up. And Cortland Sutton, who I think is going to have a monster. Round 7 of the startup draft. Freiermuth, Zeke, oh the mighty, have fallen to round 7. Dalton Schultz, Bateman, James Conner, AJ Dillon, Matt Ryan, Elijah Mitchell, or Eli Mitchell, Pollard, Gabe Davis, Violet Hilaire, and Josh Jacobs. A little sprinkling of this, a little sprinkling of that. One quarterback came off the board and Matt Ryan to fill the roster. Decent round there. So looking farther at round 7, tight ends are starting to get a little more intriguing here. So you got the youth in Freiermuth and Schultz. Got a Tolson, and I tossed in for Bateman, and running backs got kind of interesting. Zeke and Connor, some older guys, and some youth question marks, and Dillon, Mitchell, and Pollard, who could have promise, and then CEH, a big risk, and Jacobs, another risk, who didn't get renewed, but where could he land next year? Nice, nice. Round 8. Goddard, Godwin, Ertz, Allen Robinson, Christian Kirk, Elijah Moore, Miles Sanders, Brandon Cooks, Dawson Knox, Juju, D-Hop, and Cooper. This is our first round with not a single quarterback taken, as everybody has one or two where they're waiting because it gets kind of sloppy here in a second. But we did see a sort of spread out. Wide receiver is king, as you see. So looking deeper into this round, there were 3 tight ends. It is a tight end premium league with Goddard, Ertz, and Knox. There's 2 different strategies there. You got Ertz, who we know is going to be strong for the first couple weeks. Got D-Hop this year. What's the future hold? 3-year contract. Goddard and Knox are on good offenses. That should help them to sort of cream rise to the top. You got Godwin coming off the ACL, which is why he fell so far. He'd be earlier than some older guys. You got older guys in A-Rod and Cooks, and Hopkins and Cooper, and then some young guys. Let's take a look at round 9. Devin Singletary, Gesicki, Ramondre, I took Ayuk, Claypool, Chase Edmonds, Kareem Hunt, Adam Thielen, Rashad Penny, Alan Lazard, Cole Kmet, and Kadarius Toney. Another no quarterback run. Let's see something happen soon. So it's a little mix of everything based upon proportions. Some running backs towards the end for people trying to get spaces. Decent all-around round. So even looking deeper into this, a couple of interesting big tight ends. You got young Kmet, middle of the second on the last year, probably his rookie deal with the franchise. Fiddling in there. You got running backs. People are just trying to fill holes. We have, but these are guys that could take over, take a lead with Singletary, Stevenson, Edmonds, Hunt, and Penny. They have a lot of potential, and some young receivers, and Ayuk and Claypool and Toney, who I love, and then Thielen, good old boy, and Lazard, who could be a wide receiver 1. This is the most interesting round of the draft. Round 10. Michael Carter, Harris, Gage, and then Tannehill, Mayfield, Mills, Daniel Jones, Winston, Wentz, Goff, Mariota, and Rondell Moore. There was a run on quarterbacks at this point as people are trying to get their quarterback 3. And 2 receivers, 2 running backs. Interesting startup. This round was highlighted by the dreaded run. You have Michael Carter picked up by the guy who knew he had the 1.1 in the rookie draft. Harris just needing a running back, and Gage and Moore, who have a lot of promise. Gage with Brady and that Tampa, and Moore down in Arizona. But then all of a sudden, booyah! Tannehill, Mayfield, Mills, Jones, Winston, Wentz, Goff, and Mariota. It was grab your second or third quarterback before their starters were all gone. I started the round going, wow, a lot of quarterbacks, and then, where'd they all go? Came in for a run with a rundown of round 11 of the startup draft. We have Brissett, Trubisky, Gordon, Naheem Hines, Madison, Ronald Jones, Albert O, Jacoby Myers. I take Darrell Henderson, Mike Thomas, Tyler Lockett, and Calvin Ridley. A lot of dart throws going on and a kind of hold your nose and pick'ems analysis coming. So as I'm looking at this round 11, it's a lot of dart throws and a lot of covering our tails here. We got Brissett to use to cover up in case Watson, Trubisky to just, who knows, cover up everything. We got a bunch of backups, Gordon, Hines, Addison, Rojo, all in order. Got a dart throw of a tight end in Albert O. Jacoby Myers. Will he be as good as he was? Who knows? I got a backup in Henderson. Mike Thomas is a dart. Thomas, Lockett, and Ridley closed out the round. Dart throws with major upside, but major downside. Ridley is a dynasty pick, for sure. Rundown of round 12 of the startup draft. We have DJ Chark, MBS, James Robinson, Gallup, Irv Smith, Robert Woods, Gainwell, Fant, Landry, Gerald Everett, Khalil Herbert, and Cordero Patterson. Quite an interesting round. Tight end premium starting to catch up to us here. And just once again, it's that mid rounds that just feel kind of yucky sometimes. So looking a little closer at round 12, we are looking at some question marks. You saw DJ Chark go early. What's he going to do in Detroit? MBS. Is he that spring darling? James Robinson, I truly believe, and I think is one of the better picks here. He's going to be defender to ETN's Lightning. I got Gallup, who I think once he's healthy, he's always been one of my favorite Cowboys receivers. Then there's a trio of tight ends, Irv Smith, Noah Fant, and Gerald Everett. I like Everett the most of the three. Big Irv has some upside. Noah Fant, who knows what's going on in Seattle. Robert Woods is the wide receiver 1 for now in Tennessee. Kenneth Gainwell, quite a future, I believe. Landry, I had someone argue the other day, he could be a wide receiver 1, closing out with Herbert for next year, essentially. And Cordero Patterson, hoping to hit lightning in the bottle again. Spiky hair, don't care. Round 13, we're looking at starting with Logan Thomas, Hunter Henry, Juba Hubbard, Tim Patrick, Mecole Hardman, Kenny Galladay, Evan Ingram, J.D. McKissick, Brevin Jordan, my boy I got to finally take as my second tight end, Darrell Williams, Njoku, and Marlon Mack. Quite an interesting round. I believe there are a couple steals in this round. I truly believe that. As I was mentioning, I think this round could be a sneaky round that could make or break some teams. You got Hunter Henry, who was a touchdown machine last year, and a young quarterback's favorite person is a tight end. So he could get some more yards around with those touchdowns. He could be dangerous. Going to Tim Patrick, who easily, we love the top 2, but could he sneak into that Russ's favorite receiver? Who knows? Mecole Hardman's been around for a while. Maybe. Then you jump over to some of these later tight ends, Ingram, Jordan, and Njoku. They are 3 guys who could be on the up or could totally be nothing sandwiches, but they've got the build. They look like sexy pickups that you could have for players. And then some PPRs in McKissick and a couple dart throws, Darrell Williams maybe as a backup. Marlon Mack, for crying out loud, he is a starting running back, so why not? Round 14 of the start-off draft started off with Williams in Detroit, then Boyd, Jefferson, Tunyon, Mostert, Parker, Jordan Love, KJ Osborne, Palmer, as Gus Edwards, Keyshawn Vaughn, and Hayden Hurst. It's starting to get yucky, and we're only in round 14. This is going to be a long rest of the draft. So looking at this round, we're just pretty much trying to find guys that might pop. So look at Osborne and Palmer, 2 young guys on good offenses that could take over. So Gus is a second running back in probably a 2 running back system. It is tight end premium. Tunyon could bounce back. Hurst is the number 1 tight end in Cincinnati, not too shabby. Jefferson has the opportunity, kind of like Osborne and Palmer, in a great offense, as well as Boyd. I mean, this is just a good stretch to see what we can get out of this round. Round 15. Samuel, Benjamin, a hot name, Bourne. I got Nico Collins, Foreman in Carolina, OBJ, Dearness Johnson, McKenzie in Buffalo, Marshall in Carolina, Duvernay in Baltimore, Corey Davis for the Jets, and Donovan Peoples-Jones for the Cleveland Browns. Interesting, a lot of receivers looking for in the PPR league. So yeah, this round was highlighted by all but 3 being receivers, trying to strengthen that bench, see who we can find. Maybe there's some guy that's going to pop. We got gadget guy in Samuel. I reached for a young guy in Collins on an up and coming, maybe Houston offense. OBJ was a hope pick because if OBJ plays like OBJ, holy cow, but he's not going to play for a while. But this is Dynasty. McKenzie could take over that slot role. Depends upon Crowder. Marshall, another young guy. Duvernay, young. Corey Davis is just a steady horse there to get some touchdowns. And People Jones is hoping on that Deshaun Watson kind of hope. Round 16. We're almost there. Drake, Garoppolo, Breida, Michelle, Chris Evans, Drew Lock, LaVisca Chenault, Brake. I took Ingram, Higbee, Kellen Mond, and Paris Campbell. Some interesting picks in here. A couple looking for some backups, looking for maybe some fire in a bottle, possibly. Who knows? So this round is a couple of Oh How the Mighty Have Fallen, a couple I Hope They Have a Great Day, and a couple of So we're looking at Jimmy Garoppolo, who at the time of the draft doesn't have a team, still injured. He could be a starting quarterback this year. That could be a steal in the 16th round. And we're looking at a whole bunch of deep I Hope They Take Over backs in Breida, Drake, Michelle, and Chris Evans could be a PPR back. I got Ingram thinking that Kamara's going to miss a bunch of weeks, and he's the pound to get some touchdowns just to have him running back backup. Brake could be interesting with the Gronk retirement, and Higbee is in the Rams offense. Why not? And boy, how Visca Chenault has fallen. He was a darling the other year, and now he's all the way in round 16. Round 17. Trask, Minshew, Julio, Amari Rogers, Jamison Crowder, KJ Hamler, Austin Hooper, Huntley, Hilliard, Wolford, Darnold, and Trey Sermon. Oh, there's some stretches and some yuck in this round, but that's what you get when you have 12 teams and you're doing a 21 round draft. So looking through these picks, looking through here, there's a bunch of picks that we're thinking, hey, maybe the future, maybe Trask is the heir apparent to Brady, maybe Huntley takes over somewhere future because he was good in Baltimore for those couple of years. Wolford, Darnold, Minshew are just dart throws in a SuperFlex league. Trey Sermon was a third round pick. Is he going to be a total bust? Hilliard is looking like the best backup in Tennessee, and then we got four receivers there. Julio, dart throw galore, and then Rodgers, Crowder, and Hamler. They have decent quarterbacks. Who knows? Maybe it could pan out for them there, or maybe they just die out. But in this round, totally could drop them for somebody off the waiver. Round 18. Watkins, Marvin Jones, Gino, Westbrook Akizzi, Mo Alley Cox, Brian Edwards, Trimble, Andy Dalton, Troutman, James Washington, Parham and for the Chargers, and Jeff Wilson. So people are starting to get a couple tight ends in here and a tight end premium. Still wide receivers, trying to see if we can find someone. So this round is highlighted by a couple of guys that could pop this year. So it could be some guys for now just to help us steady in Wilson and Washington and who was looking at and probably Sammy Watkins, because they're not long plays, but they're good for now to fill spots on rosters. Maybe the same thing can be said about Jones down in Jacksonville. Geno Smith could be a starting quarterback in round 18 to fill the spot. And then a couple of tight ends, dart throws, in a tight end premium. So we're looking at Mo Alley, Cox, Trimble, Troutman, and Parham. Trimble, Troutman, and Parham are younger guys that could step in soon. Mo Alley Cox is a big dude who finally just got his chance. And Brian Edwards, who knows? We've all been snake bitten by him. He could be stellar because he is the number 2 receiver by de facto, right? Round 19. Conklin, Heineke, Boston Scott, Will Fuller, Cedric Wilson, Jalen Rager, Taysom Hill, Guyton, Bates from Washington, the tight end, Zay Jones, Robbie Anderson, and N'Keal Harry. We're just trying to throw something to the wall and see what sticks at this point. A couple of guys who could surprise in there as well. A couple of unsigned guys as well. So we're getting farther into the yuck. We got Conklin, who could easily be number 1 in the Jets. They're saying he's really being liked by Wilson. Heineke's just a hope that Carson Wentz totally falls in his face. And that's just the falling in your face round. So him, Scott, Wilson, Rager, Taysom, Guyton, Bates, Zay Jones, and Harry. All of them are into spots where if somebody falls in the face, they can step up. Robbie Anderson, who knows what's going to come of him with Baker down there. And I get an undrafted, a guy without a job, Will Fuller, who, if he lands somebody, dude always looks great. Round 20. Samarje Perine, Pringle, Reynolds in Detroit, Prochet, Zacchaeus, Snell in Pittsburgh, Tutu Atwell, Zach Moss in Buffalo, Derek McKinnon, AJ Green, Wes Watkins, and CJ Uzama. Ooh-wee. I don't know if anybody wants those guys on their teams, and I have a feeling this could be what the waiver wire looks like week 1. If you look at this round, we're at the point where we're just sort of trying to take best available player, or somebody who might have an opportunity. P. Ryan, if Mixon goes down, might have a chance. Jumping down Prochet, we don't know the Baltimore situation totally. Maybe he steps up. There's rumors of him overtaking Duvernay. Who knows? Tutu Atwell, things have been coming great out of camp for him. I grabbed McKinney because I needed a running back for a warm body. He's going to get PPR catches. Does AJ Green pop in those first 6 weeks and then able to be sold? And Quez Watkins, a deep, super deep, fast guy for Hurts, possibly Uzama. This team actually backed up Conklin and Uzama to see which one of those tight ends steps up in New York. Last round of the draft. Carson, Callaway, Juwan Jennings, Hunter Long, Teddy Bridgewater, Josh Gordon, Anthony Schwartz, Lindsey, Gaskin, Tyrod Taylor, Gronk, and James White. I think some of those guys actually have been dropped since I started making these videos. Some of these guys probably will be dropped for rookie free agents and whatnot in the future. So this round is a little messy. We got Gronk, who officially said he's probably not coming back. James White in the boot. Tyrod, who is buried behind Daniel Jones for now. Gaskin probably get traded. Could have some promise there. He could be one of the most promising here. You got Anthony Schwartz, who's a good dart thrower in Cleveland with Deshaun. Who knows who he's going to like. Josh Gordon, that wide receivers room's open, but he's older. Teddy, someone's hoping that, well, maybe Tua falls in his face. Hunter Long could be Gesicki heir apparent, maybe. Juwan Jennings has a connection with Trey Lance and Callaway and Carson. Just hopes on their teams they could step up and get you a couple of points. But at this point in the draft, you're just seeing who's there, hoping someone pops. Well, that is the draft. Hope you enjoyed it. Go out and check out your own startup drafts are the best. Hopefully this video helped you to get everything in order as you look into your own startup.